Welcome to Just the Who of Us, hosted by Reah Hagues. This is a space for honest, thoughtful conversations around mental health, life journeys, holistic wellnesses, and the experiences that shape who we are. Take a breath, settle in, and join Reah and today's guests as we explore the stories that connect us.
My life is just so full. So full and
Just a
busy.
busy. I know I was telling my husband, I was like, she is doing I remember that you were doing one in Scotland, I think is what you said.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's just so amazing. I said, one day I want to go to one of your retreats.
What are we up to today?
The last time we talked, I was talking about going to the 4th of July celebration.
Yes, yes.
So you were supposed to say, "Oh, you cut your hair."
Is- okay.
And then I was gonna
Oh, you look like did you catch your hair on fire at the 4th of July? That's
no,
what did you singe the ends of your hair and you had to I don't know how long your hair
I
was.
know.
This is the question.
And oddly, this is the first time I've had it down since I cut it because it's been so hot. The reason that I had my aunt cut it. So I went to the 4th of July celebration. I wasn't sure if I was going to go. I did, and my cousin immediately started talking to me, and I was just like, okay. I was nice. We conversated as a group. Like, I was outside, my mom, my aunt, my cousin, my other cousin, all these people. And like I was conversating with my mom and she would just kind of like start talking as well. And I just talked. I say, you know what? I just really I just don't want to walk around like hating like with just that energy that it takes to like intentionally be angry at someone. Look, I think her life choices are disgusting. I think she has turned into a vile person, certain things that she's done. But at the end of the day, it's just like, I just don't want to carry that emotion around anymore, you know? So I don't know. It's just like if plus my children, like I don't want to set that example to them to just go around just holding that. Like
Mhm.
it takes up space in you, you know?
Yeah.
As much as I didn't want to admit before, but it takes energy to
Yeah.
exude that emotion. So I just say, you know what? I feel the way that I feel, but I'm just not gonna, just gonna let it, just gonna
Mhm.
drop that weight and just move on with my life. Because realistic, I can feel the way I feel, but it's not gonna change anything that she's gonna do, right? So,
Yeah.
so, you know,
And you can choose how often, how frequently you are in contact with her. It's not like
yeah,
that you don't have to seek out company because
right.
you feel like, well, this is not the best energy. This is not what I really want around me very often. And that's a very different place to be. You're not seeking someone out, but if you are in situations where they are present, then you're in charge of yourself. You can decide how much or how little you want to engage with someone, and it doesn't have to come from like I if she's going to be there, I'm absolutely not going to go, because what happens in those situations, I sense, is that we put a burden on the host. When if
Yes.
I'm having a gathering, she's coming and you're coming, and you say, well, I'm not going to come if she comes, and then that puts the host in the middle, and it's your decision, not theirs to choose. And like the ultimatum, that I it feels like an ultimatum rather than I will come. You say to yourself, yes, I'm coming, and you get to choose whether you interact with her or not. That's all.
Yeah, that's a really good point too. And that kind of was my motivation for like when I walked in, a lot of people, oh, you're here. And I was like, oh, well, that made me feel good to know that that many people cared if I came. But, also, I was like, what can I do to help you? To my aunt. What can I do to help you?
Yeah.
I really am here because I want you to have a good day. What can I
Yeah.
do to help you? Do you need anything? Whatever. And kind of made that my focus rather than intentionally avoiding someone.
Right, because that's true. You just remove yourself from the thing and do something else, which I think we forget we have that power. I don't have to. I can do
Yeah.
it in the kitchen. I don't have to sit on the sofa next to her in the living room.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
what does
I
that
mean,
have to do with your hair?
well, that was just kind of like the segue,
Okay.
like, oh, you cut your hair. Oh yeah, I cut my hair at the 4th of July party that I decided to go to.
Of course, that makes sense. Perfect sense. You notice my yes, right.
I guess I could have said, "Oh, did you notice I cut my hair?" I
That's
guess
right.
I could have.
Well, mine is so curly. Well, as I've gotten older, it
Mhm.
thinned out, but it gets short or long depending on the weather. I mean, literally,
Oh,
because
yeah.
like if it's really, really rainy and humid, my hair will get much curlier, and then
Mhm.
I'll go online and someone will say, "Oh, did you get a haircut?" No, it's raining. What does that have to do with your hair? Well, obviously you don't have curly hair.
I I was just thinking that. Well, obviously,
Right,
they don't have
right.
curly hair.
Yes, yes, they don't understand the vagaries of what your hair does when it's foggy. That's the worst thing is if I'm out in the fog, you can like fix it at home and you have to walk someplace in the fog.
Yeah.
And more so than rain, I think, because rain will just kind of drown you like a dog or something. But fog just makes it get
Mhm.
really, really tight and curly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
That's
sent
how
you the
my
picture.
daughter's hair is. A
My,
couple 2 of my daughters, their hair is like that, and then one of them, her texture is more like mine,
mhm,
so hers isn't as extreme,
mhm,
but yeah, my daughter's is like that too.
yeah. Well, I sent you a picture of my grandson, right? And
Yeah.
his hair is getting so dense in the curls. And it used to, he just had really soft, kind of wavy hair, but it's really getting more and more curly. And it's like some of the um, family members. My dad had real curly hair like that, and
Mm.
and one of his brothers. But it comes more from the Scottish, Northern Scotland kind of background because he had really dark hair, my father. Uh,
Mhm.
so who knows this, but curly hair is dominant, that's for sure.
Yeah, I do agree. My kids love family, like, they love family stuff. On the other end, they are also very I don't have to interact with people because they're related to me,
Mhm.
which I love about them too. Like, they set boundaries, and I love it because I haven't always done that. But
Yeah.
when it comes to things like that, but they love family time. Even the older kids. My 17-year-old, um, we've started being more intentional with Saturday family game night.
Mhm.
And my 17-year-old made a comment about something. I don't remember exactly what it was about, but something about like us doing stuff together. And she's a teenager, so I thought in this one instance she just wanted to go somewhere to spend my money, right? And so initially I was kind of like, no, I can't do that right now. And she was like, I just wanted to go to spend time together. And I was like, oh, well, in that case, yes, I'm sorry. I didn't,
Yeah.
like, I thought you just wanted to, like, go spend money. No, she wanted to enjoy the experience. And I was like, oh, now I feel horrible. Yes, let's go do that, you
And you
know?
just feel very human, very mother, right? I misspec you, right?
I did. I did. Well, I point out that she's a 17-year-old girl because I think that's important for anyone with a 17-year-old daughter to be like, oh, I get it. They do like to spend our money, you know? Like,
Right, right. But, you do the best. I'm pontificating with all my why words of wisdom, but the truth is, if you really sit down with my 3 adult children and talk about the fact that I did the best I could as a mom, but I was
Yeah.
we moved all the time. We lived in other countries. We were always uprooted and going someplace else. And um, I'm sure they were traumatized and they get together and tell stories about how, remember the time that mom,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
it's never perfect. And it's always, I'm coming from a different place as a grandma.
Yeah. Yeah,
And,
that too.
and also that I didn't have a child at 14, but I had 3 children by the time I was 25. That's
Yeah.
a handful. And I
Right.
was doing the best I could, and a big part of that time I was living in foreign countries, and even in a country where you don't speak the language and you don't even know what to look for at the grocery store.
Yeah. Yeah.
So but we benefit from listening to each other. You have something valuable to share with other women listening to you. It's like, I was a young teenage mom. I've lived as a single parent, working, trying to provide. I've been in a good marriage. I've been in a bad marriage.
Right.
The fact that your children still talk to you, that you have a 17-year-old daughter that wants to hang out with you, speaks to
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
of how you navigated life, and you don't live it as an excuse. I really like, we don't have to be victims of what happened to us. We can actually own it and say,
Yeah.
some of the stuff that went on was really hard and it was terrible. And I have a scar from it.
Right.
We
Yeah.
will carry
Absolutely.
the scars, and that gives us a starting place. It's like, this happened. Here's the proof that this happened, but I don't have to. It's not an open wound.
Right. Right.
And I get to choose. I get to choose something different, and maybe it takes a couple of generations before the things change.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Your children are they are individual. They're born with their own personalities, but they hold something in their life that you gave them because you didn't give up.
I appreciate that. I really do. That means a lot to me. You
Yeah.
know, one thing that I do admire about like the generational change within my children is that I do think that unlike myself and even my parents, because I wasn't the first pregnancy, you know, um, the intentionality around having children is more important.
Mhm.
And even with my grandson, my daughter weighed options, and I'm glad that she did.
Yeah.
Um, I had a brief conversation with another family member who, when I mentioned weighing options, they were like, "Oh, I'm so glad she chose to have the baby." And which is nice, but in reality, that family member doesn't interact with the
Mm.
baby. So it's like, I mean, they do, but not very much because we don't live close together, but it's like, that's nice of you to say, but it wouldn't have affected your life any different. It would have only affected hers, you
Right.
know?
And to say, perhaps, I'm so glad that she had the opportunity to have options.
Yeah.
Very different, because, "Oh, I'm so glad she had the baby." And yes, we can be glad, but that
Yeah.
usually has a little underlying meaning of, we wouldn't I'm assuming, but we would not have approved if she had an abortion. Like,
Correct.
how many people would say, "Oh, I'm
Correct.
so glad she had an abortion." You know?
Correct.
Just in that, it's so beautiful to be faced with that and have the chance to have a choice.
Yes, I agree.
And
Yeah.
that, and I'm happy that the baby's in our family, but maybe not, I'm happy that she had the baby, because there's always
Right.
some kind of thing under, or most often. And
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
yeah, because
Because
it
I
really
wouldn't have been happy otherwise. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where that's my belief, or that's your way of living, or this is your moral decision. That there's room for all of us,
Right.
and we have these positions of like, I don't approve of this because this is against the Bible, or I don't approve of that because this goes against science, or all of that. And the truth is, it's not your business.
Yeah.
And you supported your daughter in saying, whatever you choose, I'm here.
Right. I feel like if we took religion and or politics out of a lot of conversations and a lot of decision making and implemented health and safety and things like that, a lot of decisions would be better made.
Well, yes, yeah. And that doesn't mean I'm not. Well, even morality is in most cases what's moral in one culture or religious
Right.
background is not moral in another. So maybe get rid of that. It's
Yeah.
just the reality of life,
Mm-hmm.
practicality of something, the
Yeah.
truthfulness. Like, I can't take care of the baby. Well, then, you can go back it up and say, well, maybe if you can't take care of a baby, maybe don't have sex. That's how babies get made. I mean,
Yeah.
you can have you thought of, I'm a surprise.
Right.
Well,
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's like somebody saying, well, we didn't plan on this pregnancy.
Right.
Well, yes, you did, because if you have sex, there is the
The options. Yeah.
chance of you're getting pregnant. So you're not planning it doesn't really mean anything. It's like every time you have intercourse, there's possibility of a baby.
Yeah.
And so, yes, you did plan on it.
Yeah. You planned on,
So don't be surprised. Don't be as surprised
right. You didn't
happened.
expect it, but
Yeah,
you knew it was a possibility. Yeah.
possibility. So
Yeah.
then you are responsible for that.
Right. 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 Yeah.
Because you did choose, and it's not about whether you should or shouldn't have sex or what, but you did choose
Yeah.
to do that, to engage in an activity that had 50-50 chance of having a baby.
Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that maybe that's not true when you're young, when you're 14, or if you've been raped, or I mean, or unconscious or
Right.
whatever.
Right. Yeah.
But as as an adult, or even a grown-up teenager participating in sex, it's like, you don't get to pull the card I didn't know, unless you totally
Yeah.
did, unless you totally didn't know. But
Right.
that's a
Right.
different.
Yeah. I've been given that kind of way out before in getting pregnant at 14. Oh, well, you didn't know any better. Because he was 20, like 20 at the time. And oh, you didn't know, blah blah. And I don't accept that. I don't accept that out because, well, I knew what sex was. I did have sex. I knew that I
Mhm.
didn't use a condom.
Yeah.
I knew there was a chance of pregnancy. Like I didn't expect it,
No,
but I
but
was aware. So that's why I chose to keep my son and take care of him and raise him because, well, I did make that choice.
yeah,
Now, in another scenario, I've chosen not
to
to move forward with a pregnancy because of the options that made the most sense for me and my current children.
right.
But even at 14, it was like, okay, well,
And see, that's the difference too. It's like you were not an innocent.
right, right, right,
You
right,
have been taken
right.
advantage of. And maybe you're not developed at 14, but there are a lot of cultures where girls, that's not uncommon for young teenage kids to
Mhm.
come together. But he had an accountability, you had an accountability, and you made a decision. Maybe you shouldn't have at 14. Maybe it
Yeah.
was a family decision that needed to have been made with or without support. But to say, yeah, I participated in that. That's a very different way to be.
Now, my kids under 18 are not allowed to date anyone who's over 18 or over. If you're in high school, You're not dating someone who's out of high school.
Yes. Yeah.
And my son, after he turned 18, had no interest in dating anyone under 18. Like, that's just, you know, and another thing that I'm grateful for that,
That's just plain stupid, right?
right, right. Why even take that chance? If you're 21, you're not dating anyone under 21. Like,
Yeah.
that's just was his decision. He's like, I don't want to chance it, And so, like I said, it's just another thing that I'm grateful that they carried in life
Yeah. Yeah.
from me, because there's, I just, but I also don't think that a 14-year-old should be dating a 20-year-old, 21-year-old,
Right. I mean, and that
you
yes,
know,
of course
but it
it does.
also goes back to supervision. That's
Yeah.
why you have conversations with your children and you try to keep up with as best you can what's going on with their lives, because teenagers can be sneaky and sometimes they do hide things,
Well,
you know,
right. Right. That's
but
also the reality of life.
right,
I
right.
mean,
I don't claim to know 100% every single little thing, and not that I necessarily need to, right? But I know that I know the important things.
yeah. Yeah. And there could be a 14-year-old girl and a 20-year-old guy, and the girl had a lot of supervision at home and had the most, beaver, leave it to cleaver, beaver, whatever, mother and father wearing apron with pearls and stuff, and they had the best supervision in the whole world, and she still got pregnant. So
Yeah, yeah,
it's also because at some point as 14, you did choose, and yes,
yeah.
your mom didn't supervise you. Maybe that added to the opportunity, but there was a place where you chose something.
Yeah,
Maybe you didn't know the consequence. Maybe you did. Maybe you were immature. Maybe you were mature.
right,
All maybe, and then
right.
here we are. I'm a young woman, pregnant. I chose to have a baby. I chose to raise this child. That you gave that to your children. You gave that place of autonomy in the sense that this was a choice I made. It wasn't necessarily right or wrong or the good or the bad. It was I chose to be responsible. And in having an abortion at another point in your life, you also chose to be responsible. So it's all
Yeah,
that place is like one if, and again, this is not to debate whether people approve of it or disapprove or God likes it
right.
or it's about how you navigate the life you live
Yes,
and also your willingness to live with the consequence.
very much so. Yeah,
Because I've never had an abortion, so I can only speak from I can imagine based on other people's stories that there is a loss. That there might I can imagine that it's possible even if you wanted it, that you grieve. I mean,
yeah,
there's all sorts of things that can happen. It's just not cut and dried. Oh, I'm going to end
right,
the life of I'm going to murder my unborn child. That's a pretty
right.
like heated conversation. Or I chose to terminate a pregnancy. Doesn't matter how you speak about it. It was still something that you decided,
Yeah,
and you live with the consequence, whether you live with the baby you had at 14 or you live with the memory that you chose to have an abortion.
yeah, yeah. You know, what's, I don't know if funny is the word, but interesting. I went to an annual checkup a couple years back, and on my way out, they were like, "Oh, we just need to verify a couple things. You've had this number of pregnancies, correct?" And I was like, it just like hit me like I'd like slammed into a wall, and I was like just started crying.
Mm, mm.
I think that people have this kind of misconception about people who choose abortion,
Yeah,
that it is kind of this selfish, heartless thing.
right.
And years later, leaving an appointment, being just like reminded,
Yeah.
because then I explained, oh, yes, oh, you have this many live births. I had this ectopic that I had to terminate, and then I had this. It was just so overwhelming to talk about because
Yeah.
I've, like it's been a long time since I really like felt it.
Hmm.
And even now, it's kind of an emotional,
Well, yeah, of course.
you know,
There's a grief. There's a grief no matter what it was or why you did something or didn't do something.
yeah,
It's a loss.
right.
Yeah, I did a ritual several years ago. Was it like at the end of the Halloween ritual, but end of year, fall going into winter, and it was like a death ritual to honor the dying that happens in the fall before the coming of the winter. And it's a
Mhm.
beautiful piece of music from Ward Runa, a band called Ward Runa, and it's the Hellwegen. So it's like the walking the road to death. And it's really intense music. And at the end, this woman came up to me and she said, "Were there little children laughing in that music at the end?" And I'm just like, "Well, I didn't hear that." No, I didn't hear that. She said, "Well, as we were doing the ritual, walking that with that music, I heard these children." And I just wondered if that was really on the music and say, "Well, I've never heard it. I'm trying to be
Yeah,
neutral." And she
right.
said, "Well, I've never told anyone this. I had 2 abortions when I was young." And she said, "I heard my babies giggling and laughing because they were happy to see me coming, that we were
Oh,
going to be reunited." Now, this
wow.
was such, and she was just in tears. She had similar to somebody asking you how many pregnancies, and all of a sudden it's like, "Yes, I was pregnant."
Hmm.
And it was such a, for me, just that moment of holding a place for her to have her experience that she's in a death ritual walking the road to hell. I mean, because it's called hell vegan, but hell meaning just the place of the dead, not burning hell.
Right, right.
In that culture, that she heard they were children and that they're waiting for her and they're happy to see her again. That's how her experience was.
Yeah,
And it's like, who would dare come in and tell her that that wasn't true? Or,
right, right,
or that you made up your mind to abort a child and get over it. You shouldn't be crying about it.
right. Yeah,
But that's not life.
right,
And it doesn't mean that you regret it or that you feel
right.
like you shouldn't have done it. It
Yeah,
just means that it happened.
yeah. And we're allowed to experience emotions
Yeah.
about difficult things, even if we made that difficult choice.
Yeah. Well, think about today. It's perfectly okay if a person cries because they had to put their dog down.
Right. Right.
My old dog that's like suffering, can't walk, it's blind, it's in pain all the time, and I take it to the vet, and I let the vet kill my dog because that's basically what happens.
Right.
Is they kill the dog.
Hmm. Yeah.
And then I say, "Well, I'm really having a bad day because I had to take my dog to the vet." "You chose to have a dog, so get over it. You knew the dog
You knew
was
the
going
dog was gonna get old one day. Yeah.
to die and you'd have to kill it."
Yeah.
But nobody would say that to somebody. So how dare they say to you, you shouldn't cry about something you decided to do?
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
You have to agree with everything I say.
No, I really do. I swear.
See, I probably, looking at the time, it's like, I don't know, are we going to have time to talk about something? I like what we said the last time. It's like, I love getting together with you because it's just like a friend, just sitting around drinking coffee and talking about life.
Yeah.
And
No, I agree. I think that's why the last time I didn't record, I didn't think to record video because we were just like chatting, it's just like a nice chat. And I wasn't even thinking podcast.
yeah.
I just, yeah, I genuinely, there's a few people that my husband hears me talk about. And outside of the maybe like one person, like friend wise, that I talk about, like in person friend. But I can always tell like when I talk about someone a lot because he doesn't ask me again, now who is this?
Uh,
And when I was talking about you this morning, he didn't ask me, now who is this? So,
yes, I'm part of the family now. You have to
yeah.
invite me to
Yes.
dinner.
Right, right.
Tell them that you're saving up your money for the retreat and retreat.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I was like, I have to, and I specifically would like to go to the one in Scotland. And I don't know why.
Outside the country, right?
I
Well,
mean,
you just set that intention. That I really believe that in the magic of how things come forth in ways that you don't anticipate and
yeah.
that you can't even imagine. So I for many years facilitated artist way groups, using creativity in our life. And
Hmm.
one we talk about, like, what would you like to do, or what have you always wanted to do? And the one woman said, well, I've always wanted to go to Greece. I wanted to go on a trip to Greece. And so I said to her, do you have a passport? She said no. And I said, well, then you'll never go.
Yeah, that's a
You'll never
good
go.
point.
And she said, well, why would I need a passport? I said, well, because you have to show life that you really are serious about going to Greece. So her
Mm.
homework was that she had to go get a passport, which she did. This
And they're
is a
really not expensive.
well, in the house for 10 years. So this is like a 12-week program that she was in with several other people. So she went and took care of it, got her passport. Before the 12 weeks were over, so she literally burst in the door for the class, because I always was teaching at home. And she said, you'll never believe what happened. And I always like, try me, because I've heard a lot of good stories.
Yeah.
Well, it just so happens that she has a cousin who has a travel agency. This is going back to the list, but where there were still travel agencies.
Right.
Travel agency, and he's taking a group of people on a tour to Greece. And he has more people interested in going. He's able to handle by himself. And he wanted to know if to go as an assistant on Greece to help him with the clients that want to go, and he's had to turn away because there needs to be 2 tour guides. All expenses paid, but it was happening pretty quickly. And she said, I told him yes because I have a passport.
That's such a great story. Oh,
And
wow.
it's really, and that's literally what happened. And you can't plan stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And many times we limit ourselves because we only think in terms of what we know. Right now,
Mm.
sitting in that room talking to me, you don't have in your possession money to go on a retreat.
Yeah.
So you make your decisions based upon that lack.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't think it's magical thinking. I feel it's much more about opening up. You can't get any money if you're holding your hands like that. So you open your possibility. I don't know where it's going to come from or how it's going to happen, but I do believe I'm going to go,
Yeah.
and I don't know when, and I don't know
Right.
how. But here I'm open, and that there was no way that she. I mean, that was already out in the ethers because he was already doing the trip. But there was no
Right.
way that she could have known that he was called her,
Yeah,
and said, "Would you like to come? Everything's paid for. I just need you to help me with the tour."
that's amazing.
And so I'm sharing that with you because I really do believe that oftentimes the restrictions that we experience come because, again, we don't have another perspective, and we can only we operate from the place of what we know, and most often our decisions are made from the place of the closed hand.
Right. Yeah, that's so
And,
true.
and over again, things. It's just like sometimes amazing, like where did that come from? Well, it doesn't matter because it was just out there already.
Right. Yeah.
So just
Right.
keep saying it's like tell your husband, I'm right now, I don't know when and I don't know how, but I'm going to Scotland on a retreat with Ingrid, or
Yeah.
with somebody. It does, or I'm going to go by myself. I'm going to Scotland. Do you have
Yeah.
a passport?
No.
Okay. So I would say the same thing. That's why you can't go with me in October.
Yeah.
It's not about the money or the obligations or what. You can't go right now because you don't have a passport.
Yeah. Wow. But that's what I mean about like perspective, because I never would have thought about that.
No.
Never would have made that correlation. But hearing that perspective is very inspiring.
Yeah. So you just go. And
Yeah.
you go to the post office and you fill out the form and they take your picture, because they do it at the post office. Well, at least most post offices have it.
I think I think the I've heard they do it at Walmart too.
Well, they probably at Walmart take your passport photo. I don't know if they have
Oh, maybe that's
app,
what it
and
is.
it's some post office. It's usually the main post office in a city has the capability. They have the forms, and some of them, and I think you make an appointment. You just call and inquire or go in and ask, are you
Mhm.
able to do the passport application? And then they sent right there, the picture's there, you give them the check and the application and your whatever you need, your birth certificate or whatever.
Mhm.
And I always encourage, I mean, that's a given. I always encourage everybody to have a passport. I really think also because of our
Yeah.
political unrest, uncertainty with things, a passport is a legal binding document. It's not a driver's license. It's actually a document that verifies who you are, and it's a federal document. They last for 10 years. I just kept pushing on my daughter too because they live right near the near the Mexico border, and they're in New Mexico, but they're by El Paso, and then the river just divides them from Mexico. And I said, I'm not an alarmist or anything, and no, you don't look like you're Mexican. Blue eyes, blonde hair, kind of. But I said, get Archer his passport. You need to
Mhm.
get your child his passport because if something happens and we don't know, I mean, this is a document that is an identification document that's accepted globally.
Yeah, that's true.
And,
That's a great point, honestly, yeah.
it's not because he can't have a driver's license. He's a kid. Then what kind of documentation do you have even that those children belong to you?
Yeah. Yeah.
So to me, it's not about being, because I'm not a fatalist or an alarmist or all that. It's like
Yeah.
real world practicality. Get yourself a passport.
Yeah, no, that is a good point. I have made sure I've had conversations because my kids are mixed, and a couple of them do look like they could be Hispanic. One of them gets asked all the time if they speak Spanish, but the other ones, a lot of us feel that there is also a large attack on brown skinned people in general.
Right. That's right.
Because they are brown skinned people, I've, there's conversations that I've had with them throughout their life, right? That you don't have to have with fair skinned children about safety and different things.
Yeah.
Um, but I've always encouraged them, like, make sure you have identification, but especially now,
All right. And
within the last,
that's
make
the
sure
real
you
world.
have your identification on you.
Yes, yeah, and this is because this is the truth of the conditions that exist right now.
Very much so,
We're
yeah.
all at risk on some level or another. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I lived in Europe a lot of years. That's not. They don't even consider it an option not to have a passport. You have to have legal document
Oh,
as to who you
really?
are.
Oh, wow.
And because like in the Netherlands, half the people don't drive. What kind of ID do you have?
Oh, that makes sense. That
So,
does, yeah.
so as you know, yeah, this is a big, glorious, amazing country. But I just heard of an situation. So let me just make sure. So it was an air. So they went someplace, flew someplace, which was in the country.
Mm-hmm.
But because of some type of, on the return flight, some type of storm necessitated that the plane had to land in Canada. But because the person only had like a driver's license, because you can get on a plane and fly with just a driver's license,
Uh-huh.
so it's that registered one. Because they didn't have a passport, they absolutely, there were some kind of complications with people that don't, because you're in a foreign country. And
Mm,
that wasn't where they were going, but that
right.
was where the plane had to land. So now you technically, like,
Oh,
some crazy thing about, you couldn't even get off the plane because if once you disembark, get off the plane,
uh-huh.
you're actually on foreign soil, and you are there then without legal papers.
Oh, wow.
I mean, you can't go to Canada without a passport. Well, maybe
Right.
you can, but I wouldn't ever go out of the country.
Right. Right.
But
You shouldn't.
don't think about things like that. But it's like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
here I am on, and what if you were ill and they had to land the plane so that you could get off, for emergency, but you're in a foreign country with
Mm,
no documentation.
right.
Not so dangerous in Canada, but it was just one of those weird circumstances of like, oh, this is really, this could happen. This is why I would want to have a passport, not just a driver's license.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. I, you know, and even more so now,
Yeah,
it is important.
well, it is. I mean, we could go to war. It's like people don't want to talk about. We could actually go to war. We've never been involved in a war, but we've sent our troops over. But what if all of a sudden we were at war with uh, another country, and then you're just like, who are you?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, okay, I'm gonna say I'll go.
Yeah, I'm like seeing if they're coming to kick me out yet. But
Also, I haven't had breakfast yet. I just had my coffee.
me either. Well, I've been fasting between 6 and 7 p.m. until at least 11 or 12 the next day. But it's 1 o'clock here and I am very hungry. So I'm with you. I'm gonna go get something to eat.
Thank you for spending this time with us on Just the Who of Us. We hope today's conversation offered reflection, comfort, or a moment of clarity. If this episode resonated with you, feel free to share it with someone who may need it. Until next time, take care of yourself and remember, you're not alone in the journey.